Kelly Stewart here with Bryan Leonard from WagerTalk.com, and we are talking 3 starting rotations that's going to make you money this season betting Major League Baseball.
Hey, Kelly, glad to be here. Really excited about the baseball season coming up. Usually go to spring training. Didn't go to spring training this year, so gives us more time to talk to you and give more information for the clients and the listeners. I do have my top 3, but I wanted to talk about some honorable mentions because people are going to wonder why these aren't in my top 3, and I want to let them know why. Now, many consider Seattle to be the best rotation in Major League Baseball, but it is very talented, no doubt about it, and they're very deep, but that's because they play in a true pitcher's park. Looking at the 2024 home away numbers from the Big Five of Gilbert, Castillo, Kirby, Miller, and Wu, we find Gilbert's road ERA to be 1.45 exactly, runs higher than at home. Castillo's is 1.10 runs higher on the road. Kirby's ERA 0.83 higher on the road. Miller's ERA a whopping 2.11 runs higher away, and Wu's road ERA is 0.82 runs higher. So just because they pitch in that great pitching ballpark in Seattle, everybody thinks this is the greatest team since sliced bread when it comes to starting pitching. Not so. It's more concerned with how bad of a hitter's park Seattle is. Second team I want to talk about is the Yankees. The Yankees will likely start Garrett Cole, Max Fried, Carlos Rodon, Luis Gil, and Clark Schmidt, all very talented starters when healthy. But that's been the main problem here is Cole, Fried, and Rodon have a recent history of injuries. Gee threw career high in innings last season, and Clark Schmidt rarely goes past 5 innings, which puts pressure on the bullpen. I do have some concerns about the Yankees starting rotation. When healthy, they're great, but they can't control that on the season, and I don't like a lot of the guys they expect to come out and pitch later on in the year if they do have injuries. The third team is the Atlanta Braves, loaded with talent, but injuries and lack of proven major league success is a concern. Chris Sale is a pitching time bomb who surprised everyone last year. He's been injured the last 3 or 4 years, pitched a lot of innings last year. In fact, he was hurt late in the season and couldn't pitch big games for them down the stretch. That's always a concern. Spencer Strider was the best pitcher in baseball for a season-ending injury in 2024, so he's coming back from that. I think he will be able to make the starting rotation out of spring training. He's looking good, but still coming back from that major injury is a concern, and he does throw the baseball very hard. Their best pitcher probably we can count on is Spencer Schwallenbach. He's a young stud that looks to have a bright future. They also have Ronaldo Lopez, a late career breakout last season. But this is a guy who's pitched for many teams over the last few years. He couldn't find his footing anywhere, so I can't expect to repeat there. Grant Holmes we really like, but he's unproven. And Ian Anderson has been a prospect for years that hasn't lived up to his expectations. Those are our honorable mentions. I do have major concerns from all 3, which is why they did not make my top 3 in this category.
All right, Bryan, now we got to know who are the 3 teams that are going to make us money because of their starting rotations this year.
This one is a real shocker to a lot of people, but I really like this Minnesota Twins starting rotation. A lot of young guys here, but I like the way Minnesota tackles starting pitching. This is my sleeper pick in this category. It's a club with plenty of starting pitching depth, which is important when you consider an average team uses 10 starting pitchers in a season. As a whole, the Twins system values pitchers who simply don't walk anyone. As long as you avoid the long ball in that situation, you're going to find great success. Pablo Lopez, nice bounce back in the second half last year. He's expected to be the ace, but in reality, Bailey Ober and Joe Ryan can fill that spot as well. Now, the problem for both of those two is home runs allowed. But as a whole, this division lacks a lot of power bats, so Minnesota should really have a lot of success inside the American League Central, and that's why I think they're the team to win that division. We also like the young arms of David Festa and Zebby Matthews. According to projections from Fangraphs, not a single one of the starters mentioned are expected to have an ERA over 4. They also have Simeon Woods Richardson, who was a rookie last year. He was very good, and he'll be likely one of the 6th or 7th starters coming out of this Minnesota starting rotation. Really like the Twins here. They're my sleeper pick in this category. Number 2, and our producer Dan will love this one, the Philadelphia Phillies. Despite playing in one of the best hitters parks in baseball, the Phillies are loaded with talented starters. The best of the bunch is Zach Wheeler, who we expect to throw over 200 innings with over a strikeout per frame, and you just don't see pitchers pitching that long anymore. It used to be you had to pitch 200, then it went down to 180. Now there's going to be a lot of pitchers in Major League Baseball that are really good, only throwing 130 to 150 innings, and be able to get 200 innings out of Wheeler is just amazing. He's one of the elite pitchers in baseball, and because of his ability to pitch late in the games, it saves the bullpen. We all saw in the playoffs last year, Cleveland depended so much on their bullpen, and all those pitches really caught up to him in the playoffs. Aaron Nola is much the same vein, even though he seems to be underrated on a regular basis. We do like Aaron Nola. Not the same pitcher he was earlier, but still one of the best guys out there as an innings eater. Christopher Sanchez and Ranger Suarez both had breakout seasons last year. And while they aren't as dominant in strikeouts as the others, both have really matured beyond their years. The Phillies picked up Jesus Luzardo in the offseason, and he has an already talented staff. He's a big strikeout pitcher when healthy, and is likely one of the best 5 starters, number 5 starters in all of baseball. There's not too many teams that run as deep as Philadelphia. And we haven't even talked about their talented starter, Andrew Painter, who is ready for a breakout year after injuries cost him last year. He's still 21 years old, and he will play this season. And if he's healthy, he could end up being a number 1 starter. But to no surprise to anyone out there right now, the LA Dodgers are our number 1 rotation. The best rotation money can buy. Not only do the Dodgers have the best rotation in the league, they have the deepest. Because of having 3 Japanese pitchers on the club, we expect the Dodgers to use a 6-man rotation. They talked about that. When Ohtani's ready to go, they will use a 6-man rotation. And that's common in Japan. And LA is loaded with the foreigners. So we feel this is the best way to keep their starters fresh all season. And those starters, of course, are Yamamoto, Ohtani, and rookie sensation Rocky Sasaki, who I'm really excited to watch here in the United States this year. All big strikeout arms that can dominate on a consistent basis. The strength continues with 2-time Cy Young winner Blake Snell, who they signed over in the offseason. And he came over from the Padres, which has given the Dodgers a big advantage in that division. But they also have the return of Tony Gonsolin, Dustin May, Clayton Kershaw, who will be around probably the second half of the season. And that's not to mention their young starters in River Ryan, Emma Sheehan, Landon Knack, and Bobby Miller, who unfortunately took a shot back to the head in the first preseason game this year, but he should be fine. This is just a loaded starting rotation, and every team goes through injuries as the season goes on. It's the Dodgers who have the depth to compensate that from any team all season long. That's our best players and best starting rotations in Major League Baseball this year, and we're excited to see a lot of these teams get out there and prove that I'm right in this regard.
All right, Bryan, if somebody wanted to jump on board with you at WagerTalk.com, tell them where to go and what they can expect when buying your season-long baseball package.
Yeah, we've got a great special right now. It's up on our site right now at WagerTalk. Number 1, the last 2 years combined in Major League Baseball net profit. Number 1 in the history of Major League Baseball at WagerTalk. I'm a big underdog player. I play a lot of underdogs. You're not going to get rich playing big favorites in Major League Baseball. And so I at least half of my plays are underdogs each and every year. And we made a lot of success in that regard. Just last year, 56% on plus money underdogs. And there's not too many people out there that could say that. And we got a great special right now. Not only am I number 1 all-time in Major League Baseball, also number 1 all-time in NHL net profit as well. And right now, if you want to join us for the baseball season, you can get all season long, including the World Series, all the way through for only $599. But just $1 more will add in our NHL through the NHL Championship, Stanley Cup. It's been one of those times where I'm just great in these money line sports, in baseball and hockey. Just a tremendous event. $600 entire baseball season plus the rest of the NHL. Can't beat that anywhere.
Great stuff from Bryan Leonard. We're going to have some other MLB videos up on our WagerTalk YouTube channel, so make sure you guys check those out, talking season win totals and teams that we want to be betting against because they're going to be burning us money.